Welcome back to an all-new episode of the Geek Train. I'm Adam.
I'm Jess.
Christina.
And there's
Lightning!
thunder.
Each of our wrists.
Thunder, lightning.
That is on my end.
Oh, it'll be on our
Me
end soon
too.
enough. But we're going to rock this episode out
Woo.
and hope that the power doesn't go out.
I'm
The
way away from
topic.
you guys.
The topic this week is toxic fandoms. We've all seen it. It's very common in the fandoms. We've got the Sherlock fans, the Doctor Who fans, the Supernatural, Rick and Morty fans. There's so many different major fandoms out there. And then the more fandoms you have, of course, the more seemingly toxic the overall culture is, especially on the internet. So that is what we're discussing today.
Alrighty.
Yay!
Yay.
I guess I can go ahead and I'll kind of start things off with that. When we were discussing the biggest example I could come up with is, Star Wars fans versus Star Trek, or Trekkers or Trekkies. There's even a little bit of toxicity within the Star Trek community, even with, is it Trekker, is it Trekkie? You can't, call us Trekkie, it has to be Trekker and so on. And I mean, they even did a movie about that called Fanboys, where, like a third of the movie is them running into Star Trek fans and the little misadventures and fights that happen with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then another I think about still in pop culture is with baseball. The biggest one is, you got Yankee fans versus Red Sox fans. I even have a coworker who is a Yankees fan, and I'm a general laid-back Red Sox fan, but even every now and then we'll just kind of playfully be like, should like Red Sox suck, and not to be like whatever, but it can get pretty toxic real quick.
I just read a book that had a rivalry where like the dad was really into the Chicago Cubs, but like the daughter was a big fan of Derek Jeter, who was the Yankees. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, I got something right. Sports. And so that like it wasn't. There was no. Oh my God, Godzilla! No.
I am pro Team Godzilla.
Yeah. He's shaking. He fell. So if I clap too loud, he goes off. So.
Well, that's how that works. Clap back too loud and the fandom goes off. So with fandoms, one of the most particular instances that I recall in recent memory is the Rick and Morty Szechuan sauce fiasco.
Mm-hmm.
If you look online, there's videos of when McDonald's had this sauce, and people were like lined up around McDonald's, like throwing chicken nuggets on the ground, like, not a part of your system. I don't need your chicken nuggets, man. Like standing up on tables, like flinging their shit like monkeys and stuff. It's crazy. This stuff is nuts. Like,
wow.
It's kind of that same way online too. It's just that particular instance was in public. There was a lot of people, and there's a lot of stuff where if you don't know every single little thing about this particular topic, then you're not a real fan. And
that happens a lot in the.
Be a fan if you don't know every single little tiny tidbit, and it's like that's not how that works. It's not.
But just let me enjoy it and get the fuck out.
Exactly. Well, it's like the whole thing with Airbender. Like, it came on Netflix, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, this show's awesome!" And then all like the original fans were just like, "How dare you! Like, this has been forever out, and we loved it before you loved it." It's like,
like that may be true, but also a lot of these newbies who are liking it probably weren't born when it first aired. Like they get a pass.
They didn't know much about it, and then the movie that was live action tanked so hard that I'm sure they didn't even think like, let me check out the cartoon version.
And I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of that kind of things with music. It's like, it's not okay for someone to get a T-shirt of a band that they love one, maybe two songs of, without a fan come and go, "What's your favorite album?" They're like, "I don't know. I just like this song." It's like, you can't wear that shirt. You're not a real fan. You don't have
like merch sales help the band make more music. So let these
So
babies.
who's the real fan here?
Exactly. Like,
Right. One of the things to me is especially is like fans that shit on people for liking things. Like, if you like this thing, then you are a bad person because you like this thing.
it's like we're all in our late 20s, early 30s,
mhm.
and we all enjoy cartoons one way or the other. Some people might be like, you're in your 30s, why are you watching cartoons? But like, it's entertainment. Like, and a lot of the cartoons nowadays, especially like I started watching She-Ra because it was on a list of top shows featuring LGBTQ characters. So there are, even though it is a kids show and I'm an adult, like, don't shit on me for watching it, because this has a lot of good lessons that if I'm watching it with a kid, like my niece, whatever, then I could be like, oh man, you see what they just did there? Like, we learning something today. Damn. Like, don't shit on me.
Well, cartoons have changed the way that they operate from the time whenever we were children. Back in the 80s and 90s and 60s and 70s even, cartoons were really designed as an advertising outlet. Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, based on a comic series. Comic series is dark as shit, but they knew that they could get toy sales out of it, because you can sell 15,000 different versions of Michelangelo. Like, oh, well, this is Michelangelo wearing a baseball costume, and he's got like Ninja Turtle nunchuck bats that he hits the baseball with and stuff like that. Well, obviously,
I have the Donatello of that one.
So that was basically how it ran whenever we were kids. There wasn't like an ongoing story arc or anything of note. They were kind of just these one-off little episodes. Every episode kind of just had its own standalone
Resolved
story.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah. And every episode was selling some sort of new toy, basically. Whereas now you have shows like Gravity Falls, where it was a 2-season ongoing arc that continued episode by episode, and it actually has an overall story. And they didn't even really have all that many toys.
Yeah.
Nothing that I found, at least. The only thing I've managed to find is like the pop figures from Funko.
They had some
and
really little mystery bags.
Megan got me
They
one of
were
those
only
for
about,
Christmas
like,
There's
one year.
pretty
yeah.
much anything that you can think of pretty much has a mystery bag
Yeah.
or mystery box or something. Like when I was at GameStop, we had them all over the place. There was like a whole row of the counter space that was just 25 boxes of mystery figures from everything you could think.
Like, I'm sure it's still all about the advertising and all about the toys and all about that type of stuff, but at the same time, people our age are now adults making those cartoons. So we're doing what we saw as a mistake when we were kids. So the like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series from 2012, ongoing series, probably the best version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, other than the IDW comics and the 1990 movie. But even in the Turtles fandom, there's toxic culture there, because you have the rise of the TMNT, which is the newest Nickelodeon series. I didn't particularly like it.
I didn't like the art style.
I don't either.
I couldn't get into it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go be like, fuck you for liking this, you know?
Yeah, like, fuck the Ninja Turtles now. They're dead to me. And everybody else who likes it is also dead to me. Like, it seems like such a waste of productive energy to be like that.
Yeah.
And yet it's everywhere. Like video games, Fortnite.
I have a list of you say it's everywhere, of the top 10 toxic fandoms.
Oh, is there like a quantifiable list, or is it just your
I googled,
opinions?
so
okay.
Yeah.
It's like a
You want them
BuzzFeed
now?
article or
You
something.
want-
Yeah,
Alright.
I want them right now. So
Yeah.
do it.
Google, shut the fuck up.
Hey,
Google's
shut up with
talking
the
to
shut
me.
up.
I bet Doctor Who's on it.
There's only 8 on here.
Oh, okay.
But
The
oh
list I
wait.
saw
Oh no.
had-
Oh,
had,
oh no, there are 10. It's not specific like shows,
Oh,
like
okay.
fandom. What it's overhead of My words are hard. I've been sick all day, so I'm sorry.
Words are hard.
Words are hard. Metalheads. So like people who are
Yeah.
into metal constantly are shitting on other music.
Mm.
And I see that all the time because I know a lot of people who are exclusively into metal and they just talk shit like I can't even get into it right
Yeah.
now. I mean,
I
I
can
could. That's
totally-
what the show is, but
I can totally vouch for that a little bit. I within the past year got back into Cradle of Filth, and I've been like doing a lot of research on them and kind of catching up and all that with their history. And they're of course they have tons of fans, and it's a mixed reaction with the rest of the metal community
Mhm.
because either people will love them or they'll think, oh, these guys are not serious enough. It's like the whole attitude is too jokey or whatever. They're not serious enough about the shit like we are, talk about like burning churches and whatever other dark metal shit, and so
Mhm.
but I love Cradle, so it's just like, guys, whatever, you guys can like Slayer or you want, I'll like Cradle, whatever.
Yeah. Then you've got football, soccer for us Americans, because there are so many stories that come out of Europe and South America of specific teams destroying and looting other teams' shit. So while it's more destructive than toxic, like that's still not good behavior.
Well, destruction's pretty toxic.
Yeah, I
I
would say
mean,
that is straight up as
Like don't break my shit.
it's like when UK's basketball team fucking like wins, and
Yes,
then
they
like
just go
everybody just
ham.
burns couches out in the
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Then
That's my first reaction. My team won. Let's
Yeah.
burn a couch.
Fuck yeah. Like I didn't pay $900 for that couch or anything. Shit.
Right, like
Then you've got nostalgia, which I don't really
That's a
see
very
a lot
broad
of toxicity
term.
in that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, this list does point out like it's not a franchise or a sport. It's just kind of like I don't know. They don't even have a thing, but
Genres.
yeah. And then anime, full true.
Mhm.
And the most toxic thing I see in that is the dub versus sub argument.
oh my god.
Yes, all right. Like just enjoy it however you can. No matter what, English, Japanese, Korean, whatever. I'm going to have subtitles on. I can't fucking hear. So, I'd rather have it in English with also subtitles so that I can fully understand what's happening. So,
Yeah,
while I
see-
like it both ways, I prefer it in English.
I don't care.
Yeah,
don't care
exactly.
the original language or whatever. It's gonna have subtitles.
My personal rule for anime is whatever I start episode 1 in, that is
Finish
how
it
I'm
and-
to watch it the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Because you get used to those voices, that sound. So, with what was it? Like Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches or whatever. Like not a long series, but I watched it in Japanese, even though there was a dub, because that just happened to be how I heard the first episode. Or The Devil is a Part-Timer. That was a weird show, but
like I started
funny.
the first time Fruits Basket dropped. I watched it in English. Now they've redone it, and even rewatching it in English because it does have a dub. They had to change some of the actors for the children because those children from the early 2000s are adults now, and it's just like, oh damn, I miss those guys. But
there are some things that are worth going back and watching the original language of instead, though. So if you go through the entire saga of the 4Kids Entertainment thing, like Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, there's like guns and like all sorts of weird shit in the Japanese version that's like way darker than what we got in America. They like edited out the guns with like walkie-talkies and just pointing fingers
It's like
instead.
what they did with E.T.
like,
So sometimes it's worth going back and watching it in Japanese. But the biggest
Heck of it.
the biggest toxic culture thing for anime, from my perspective, are the people who hate on popular shit. Like Sword Art Online is like
you
one
only
of those.
like it because it's so popular, but like, yeah,
Well,
like that's the fucking point.
It's also popular for a reason, dude. Like, come on, it's Like Sword Art Online, I enjoyed at least the first arc. The second arc was a little weird because it got a little bit incestuous a bit. I don't, could have been the English translation. I watched that one in English. But it was like the cousin, sister, whatever, like fell in love with the main character in the game, but like neither of them knew. It was I don't know. Did anybody watch that one?
No.
Oh no.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I am like the most basic anime fan ever.
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball, Bleach, Cowboy Bebop. Yeah.
No
One
shade.
Piece is streaming now.
Mm.
That's so. Oh god, there's so much One Piece.
Yeah, there's like what 900, almost 1,000 episodes.
So
There's
many.
1,000 pieces at least.
No, only One Piece. One Piece.
It's a long ass piece.
So
It's like you sit on a
next-
toilet bowl and just like it keeps coming. Like,
I
Taco
quit the
Bell.
Geek Train. No more poop jokes.
not that One
Oh.
Piece is shit or anything. I haven't even seen it. I don't know. But
I read it. I've not watched it except maybe like 2 or 3 in passing episodes.
mhm.
But I started it when it was in Shonen Jump, which I
That's
don't.
when I started it.
Yeah. Hey.
I read
We're
the
old.
fuck out of some Shonen Jump.
Yeah.
They don't
I-
print it anymore. I was
I,
really depressed whenever I found that out.
I used to be a delinquent, and please God, don't let my parents ever see this, but I would steal issues from the
Shoplift.
7-Eleven when I was like 10. Hey man, when I was 10 years old, you could go fuck off, do whatever you wanted. I was living in a trailer park. We could just walk up to the Circle K, to the 7-Eleven on the other side of the highway and be like, okay, well, they didn't give me no money, but I want to read this, so
Man, you straight gangsta.
Well, they came out like once a month. I got them at Walmart because that was
Walmart.
like the only thing my town had.
yeah.
It was a Walmart and a little book section and like
Mhm.
a little magazine section that just happened to have Shonen Jump, so I would get it once a
Mhm.
month, and that would
I
be
would
my
get
comics.
that.
Bought
And
it from
Otaku
somewhere, or if we got
USA.
it mailed. Didn't they mail it to you?
I think you could
You
get
could
a
get a
mailed
subscription.
Yeah, that's what my parents said. So that way, because my brother and I both were super into it, so that's how we got it. I was like, I don't remember buying it in a store.
My family didn't trust that.
Yeah,
Like,
even now it's 2020 and my mom's like, I don't know how to order things online. But like, oh, okay, I'll do it for you.
yeah, my grandmother. I grew up with my grandparents, and only just within the past like maybe 10 years she got a debit card. So
That's awesome.
you know it's
My mom still doesn't have a debit card,
Hey,
She
and she
writing
works in a bank.
checks.
She is a head teller, and she's like, I don't trust them. I'm like,
I
"Ugh."
have a friend who won't use the debit card. Like he has a bank account and everything,
Mhm.
but he puts everything on a credit card because they're 1, easier to dispute, and 2, if it gets stolen, none of your cash is gone. They've just charged on it. So
I
you
mean, that
still
is
have
a
all of your
smart
cash
way.
from the bank, yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
my mom
that's,
has credit cards, but
I need to do that.
not debit stuff. She's like, not doing it.
Like, no, ma'am.
Shout out to
That's
the
funny.
nah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really blame people for that. Like,
Yeah.
if my credit card was available with cash for that, then I would totally do it.
We won't be toxic and judge people.
Yeah. Like,
What do
you
you
do
mean we
you.
won't?
You want to write a check? Fuck it. I'll take your check. Actually, just get Venmo. Venmo me, God.
No, PayPal or nothing.
So with the whole toxic
No.
thing and being like shitting on other people's stuff or whatever, there are caveats to that. Like I feel like you can express your opinion. Like
yeah.
I thought the 2016 Ghostbusters movie was dog shit. Anybody who likes it, I mean, whatever. Like, if you like it, then by all means. Like,
Like,
I'm not gonna like hate you as a person for liking this movie. I'm going to maybe question your taste if you suggest things to me. Just because it's like, well, they did like the 2016 Ghostbusters movie. I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy this or not.
For me, because I know we saw it in theaters, I like the extended cut better. They put some of the better jokes back into it. So I say, like, it depends on how much you hated the theatrical cut. If you like despise it, don't try it. But if you kind of are curious, try the extended cut.
I
And-
watched it. The best joke in the movie was cut. It was the one that had Kevin from The Office, just kind of like waltzing into this scenario and them being like, "What are you even doing here?" And he's like, "I don't know," and then just leaves or whatever. I mean, that was funny. It was all right, but
Yeah, it was funny, but it still couldn't save the movie. I mean, I can get that.
I mean, I probably did get toxic with the Ghostbusters thing even back then, because it like the reason that that one got so toxic was because it also brought politics involved. Like, it was 2016, Hillary was running for president, and then like it was an all-female Ghostbusters movie. So like people tied their horses to the whole like women being Ghostbusters thing, and it was like if you had any sort of complaints about this movie, then you hate women. And it's like, no, there's a lot of valid actual criticisms for this movie, like how about the fact that the whole thing seems to just be improv. There's no real consistent story the whole way through. It's just
And
a
all of
stream of cut scenes.
and all the female Ghostbusters are trying to one up each other. They're trying to be Venkman, basically. They're trying to be the funny one.
You can't all be the funny one.
And that's
Nope.
what happens when you hire all comedians.
Well, the original Ghostbusters had all comedians, but
But they'd also done a lot more serious roles in their lifetime. Like, what was it? Kristen Wiig, Leslie Jones, right?
Yeah. Melissa McCarthy.
And then the other one, the lesbian one.
Kate
From
McKinnon.
Saturday Night Live.
This conversation. I haven't seen the movie.
I haven't seen it either. But their big hits are all comedies. Every single one they've ever done, it's all comedies. They've all done Saturday Night Live. So they're in that improv era. They've all done Second City. Like, that is what they're really good at. And yes, Kate McMahon. I love her.
I'm going to say Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones.
Yes. And like, so that's what they're really good at, is doing that improv, that off the top of their head comedy. But anyway, this isn't a Ghostbusters episode.
It could easily be one.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's still toxic talking. So
it is toxic. So, like I was saying, the biggest thing about that was you had the core fans of the 1980s Ghostbusters movie not liking where the direction of this new one was going. Didn't like the design of the Ecto-1, didn't totally care for the designs of the proton packs or the new ghost traps or any of this stuff. And then, of course, the movie itself, once you actually get into it, it was slapstick comedy that didn't really work for what would be, in my opinion, a good movie. So you had all of these things going wrong for it, but the fandom that wanted to support this movie just took it straight to the level of, well, you don't like it because women.
Yeah.
And there are probably definitely some people in that category. But the most vocal fandom of like the subreddit for Ghostbusters, even like valid complaints, met with the argument of, well, you're just sexist, which creates a toxic environment. That's, it is what it is. If
you get the super toxic sexism environmental whole thing, because you'll be playing a game and a dude's fine until you make a peep, and then, oh, that was a bad idea, because then it's all kinds of negativity and toxicity. You'll hear the whole thing with like, you need to shut up, you need to go back to the kitchen, like I'll find you and rape you. Like there's all kinds of toxicity and like with sexism in like video game eras. Now, of course,
it's happening on TikTok a lot now.
On TikTok, it's like that.
A lot of rape jokes are happening, and it's been a big struggle to get people reported and shit like that. So
see, the amount of times I've had to deal with that while playing a game, especially on Xbox. On PlayStation, I really haven't had that big of a issue with that. But playing on Xbox, the amount of times I've heard crap because I'm a chick.
Get your voice box changer.
It used to be really bad, like about a decade ago, when I used to play a lot of Halo and Call of Duty, it's always, fag this, fag that. Not so much lately whenever I play Call of Duty, but I mean, I don't know. And then have you guys ever heard of a term called swatting within the past couple of years?
That's really
No.
bad for Twitch streamers and stuff. It's basically when the cops get called and they basically lie to the cops and say like, "Oh, this person has hostages in their house," and like finds their address and like sends police to their house. Like,
What the fuck?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So basically, if you kick somebody's butt in a video game, they could get so pissed they'll get the cops called on you, and you could literally die.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's a lot.
Yep.
Especially, I don't know if you guys have ever played Siege. One of the most toxic games that are in this world. Because the amount of times I'd be playing that, and I wouldn't even make a peep in the game, but you be playing the game and you'll get a message and it'll, Badine, you need to get off this game. You need to go yourself. Like all kinds of things. Like, what are you even doing? Like, good job, you scrub, and stuff like that. Which
Wow.
not nearly
I
like
get like some
thing,
trash
but-
talking because one of the whole things with teamwork and sports and gaming and stuff is the ability to trash talk your teammates and who you're playing opposite against. But when it gets to go kill yourself, like you're
I got
fucking
that one a lot. You
so
need to
like
kill yourself.
that's where it starts to become like just the worst thing ever and make you not want to play games anymore.
And it was
like-
pretty much every round.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
I would just reply, "I'm new to the game. Sorry. Maybe
Yeah.
give me tips instead of being mean." And then they'd
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, I didn't realize you were new. I'm sorry." Like, yeah, try this.
Like what? You think I'm just a 20-year veteran playing this game, just being
Yeah,
really
like, I'm like-
horrible at it? Like, Christ.
40? Like,
Yeah.
I think people also forget in video games especially, like you could be playing with somebody that's pretty much any age.
Yeah.
Like you could be playing with somebody that's 40, you could be playing with somebody that's like 10. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, they might be dog shit at the game, but that's because they're a fucking kid. Like they don't know. But one of the games that I play that's pretty toxic is Sea of Thieves. That's a pretty fucking toxic game as
I
far
just
as
don't play multiplayer shit. Like the most multiplayer I've gotten in the last few years is Fall Guys. And even then, I don't know anybody I'm playing with, and I can't talk to them, and I can't send them messages. So
I got tilted today. Fucking cheaters. There's hackers in that game left and right
son of
today.
a bitch. I'm so bad at it.
Yeah,
But I
I've won some
love it.
crowns. I've got a few crowns.
I've gotten 2.
Nice.
yay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like video games, super toxic. League
Yeah.
of Legends is notorious for being just the most toxic culture in that game ever, because everybody plays competitive, even if you're not playing competitive games, and then your team treats you like shit if you suck at it. I didn't even bother getting into the game because it was so toxic just from watching it from an outside perspective that I was like, I don't even want to play this. And that's where you start to lose people, I think. So it's like with Supernatural, with Doctor Who, all that stuff, if you're like a new person coming into this thing for the first time and you see how toxic that shit is, like on Facebook groups or Reddit or the YouTube videos or whatever, you start to look at that stuff and you're like, maybe I should just duck out. Like this show can't be good enough for me to be involved in, like with these types of
Get
people.
constantly shit on.
Yeah. So because I know like Doctor Who got a lot of shit for like having the female doctor, back to the whole sexism thing and whatnot. And it's like from a story perspective, if you can make good arguments based on story, fine, whatever. But if you're just gonna be mad because she got regenerated into a woman, then whatever. Like you've got some problems. Like maybe you should just look inwards on yourself and try to figure out why you're so mad about it.
Therapy.
Because at the end of the day, regardless of story or, your personal preferences or anything like that, like it's a show. They're going to do what they want to do regardless of what you think.
Yep.
If you want to change the fates or whatever, then you need to, become a better writer, and then you need to apply for the job yourself and then take that job from whoever has it, and then you can design the show however you want.
Showbiz.
So, I don't know. Is there any fandoms that you are in that are pretty toxic from the outside looking in, or even from the inside looking out? Yes.
Steven Universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that shit. It's one of my favorite shows, hands down. And one of the biggest issues that people are calling it toxic is with a lot of fan art. If people don't like what you've drawn, they will put you on blast. And at one point, it got so bad that an artist actually killed herself over it. And that is, oh yeah, it was a rough time in the fandom. But I love Rebecca Sugar. She's done some really good stuff. She's got really good LGBTQ trends in there. So the show itself is really great, but there are just some really fucking horrible fans. So bad. So at this point, like I've not even been keeping up with it because I don't want to get into any of it. So, but I still love
I
it.
think that that's a problem because, like, as a fan of things, you
Mhm.
want to talk to other people about
Yeah.
it. That's part of why the Geek Train even exists, so we can just shoot the shit about geeky shit.
Yes.
But whenever you start to get involved with that toxic stuff, and then you're like, man, I don't even enjoy the show anymore because of this.
Mhm.
Like, that sucks because it is
Yeah.
a good show. I mean, I've never seen it, but I've heard great things
Mhm.
about it, so I assume
I
it's a good
love
show.
like going into conventions and shit, and talking to Steven Universe artists, fan art and stuff, because that everybody I've ever spoken to has been really great. Because I have so many just little fan arts that I've gotten from Artist Alley or whatever. So it has a really great community, but when they get toxic, it's real toxic.
Yeah.
Also, the Monopoly fandom, fuck those guys. I love
Monopoly?
Monopoly. Everybody hates Monopoly.
Sorry if you
Quit
guys hear my kids.
shitting on my game.
That's why
You're
I'm
good.
like,
I'm not big on Monopoly.
I love it. See?
I
Toxic culture. No, I'm just kidding.
like, fuck you for
Dare
liking
you.
Monopoly. Monopoly, I don't know how much you know about the history of it, but it was designed for you to actually hate the game. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure, but
the creator of the game
play and get
themselves.
angry with me. Like,
Yeah.
let's just rage over Monopoly one night. Nobody wants to.
Well, the creator of the game
I will.
designed it to essentially teach you that capitalism is bad.
I could see that.
The whole thing is designed for one person to win via monopoly. And capitalism by design has a winner. That's a whole different conversation that I'm not even sure fits the Geek Train. But capitalism bad, basically. That's the story of Monopoly. But on the topic of the person that killed themselves, there's other fandoms where actors and actresses have had to deal with such a toxic fandom that they've headed out, as it were. There's they didn't kill themselves, but the actor who played Jar Jar Binks, for example, in Star Wars, Jar Jar Binks, shit character. Everybody generally agrees that it's a shit character, but they hate him so much that they like shit on the actor himself. Christina is making the face like she likes Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, like, same movie, but...
Oh, Christina, you're a horrible person for liking Jar Jar Binks.
I was just about to talk about, like, the same movie, but instead it was Jake Lloyd that played young Anakin. The fans got on him so bad, he actually had to go into a mental hospital to get help because he was...
Yeah, he's on, like, antidepressants and all sorts of stuff.
Well, didn't they do that with the same thing with the guy who played, older Anakin? Like
Hayden Christensen.
Hayden
Yeah. I mean, like, people
gorgeous
all
guy.
the time,
I could forget that name.
Hayden Christensen, like, he gets ripped on all the time because of his performance as Anakin, but he is not, at least from what I've heard, getting help for that. He's just doing more movies every now and then, like, trying to kind of on the download try to get away from the Anakin shadow.
See, I thought he did okay. Like, I don't know why everybody hates on him so hard for it. I felt like he did a good job.
You can't expect him to act how Darth Vader was in 4, 5, and 6 because at this point, he's not Darth Vader. You needed to see him what led up to that point, and people weren't getting that.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as his character goes, he was a little deadpan, and I think that's what, like, really killed it for people. Like, he didn't really show
Too
like
much emotion.
yeah, like even for an actor who's gonna be Darth Vader or whatever. I think he was trying to play it like Darth Vader, where it's just a man in a mask and the voice respirator, and it's all like stoic. But you can't be that before you're that. Like you got to actually have that emotion and hatred. And at the his best acting is like at the third movie, like whenever he's like, I hate you, and all this stuff. And you know, uh, people hate on a lot of stuff like that. Like Power Rangers Turbo had a child actor as one of the Power Rangers, and people shit all over him all the time. Although him as a human being is apparently a major douchebag. So I don't know.
Oh, you mean Jason David Frank?
No, I don't remember the actor's name.
I've met him twice. Both times he was a complete dickhead. Not
I've met
shitting
him.
on like, whatever. I know everybody's had great experiences with him. He's so good. But the two separate conventions I met him at, he was horrible.
Jesus didn't tap.
That sucks.
Yeah.
The experiences that I've had with him have been positive, but that's everybody has different opinions. Like I met Bruce Campbell. He acted like Ash. Kind of a dick at the same time, but like in a sarcastic way that I think like he's going for it. So like you
that's
don't
actually
know
his personality.
yeah, like you don't know if that's really if he's being a dick or not, or if he's just fucking with you. So I don't know how to gauge that experience with a famous person. But I thought it was cool. I mean, I enjoyed it. But with that whole thing, there's also toxic fandom there because somebody tried to fucking kill Jason David Frank at a convention. They like snuck a gun or something in or something like that a few years ago. It was pre-COVID because there's no conventions anymore. Those don't exist.
I know. I had so
they
many...
opened books for MTAC for next year for hotel, so it's all ahead.
There's an awful lot of assumption going on.
Yeah, so we'll see.
But yeah, there was that with conventions too. There's the cosplay culture, that whole thing. Like if you don't individually create every piece of your own costume from scratch,
and if you don't fit the correct body type, like that's what bothers me a lot as a fatty. Like, just let us enjoy things.
Not allowed to dress like Deadpool because there's no such thing as fat pool or anything like that. I mean, that happens.
How there's a lot of stuff where like you're black, so you can't be Sailor Moon, and I'm just like, hold up, no, you can do
whatever you want,
and you are gonna look beautiful. Like, I just don't understand. It's like you can be whatever you want to be. That's the whole point of cosplaying. Like, being able to express yourself, making sure that you can show how much you love your character or the show you like, the movie you like, whatever, by devoting your time to whether you pay $45 to $150 on Etsy, eBay, Amazon to buy your costume, whether you buy everything specifically and cater to it your entire self. Like, who cares? You're having fun. The most fun I had ever was GalaxyCon this past year. My best friend and I, Chris Brown, we went and I bought my Spider-Gwen costume off Amazon to go trick-or-treating with my kiddo. He went as Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and I went as Spider-Gwen because we are a super cute little family. And I wore that costume to GalaxyCon. I did not put any effort into this costume other than making sure I bought the shoes to match and that my hair was done the same way hers was. Easy peasy. And I had so many people that were just like, oh my God, Gwen! And like took pictures and everything. And it was the most fun I've ever had. And I'm just like, why can't it always be like that for anybody, regardless of whether you're a boy or a girl, regardless of whether you're black, white, or green? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Sorry, I get on the soapbox.
I don't know. I think the best cosplays that I've seen have been the costumes like that don't fit into your specific category. Like one of the most notable ones I think that I remember seeing was there was a dude, like big buff dude dressed like Eleven from Stranger Things, like had the dress, the
Yes.
Eggos and stuff. I'm just like, that's awesome. Like
Wow.
that's just great. But you know, you do have the loyalists and the purists in that community, especially. Like if you're just a fan going to a comic convention and you see somebody dressed like Spider-Gwen, you're just gonna think, oh, that's awesome, and then take a picture with them and you know, move on with your day or whatever. But there's also those people that are also dressed up that are like, I bet she bought that. I bet she bought that off Amazon. I know who made
You're
that.
like, you right, girl. I see it. Like,
Mine costs 200% less than your homemade bullshit. Woo.
don't be a turd.
Yeah, that's a good good way to put it. Don't be a turd.
That's a T-shirt.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's get Geek Train
That's my
t-shirts that
PG.
say "Don't be a turd."
Be rated. My father, hearing me saying a bad word, I'd be like, he'd be like, "Mommy, you said a bad word," which never happens to me. But when I'm gaming with my friends, like Scotty or something will say a no word, and Lucian will go, "Scotty, I heard that." I'm just like, ooh.
The other toxic ish fandom thing that you know, whenever we were talking about the people who have gotten shit for their roles, Star Wars is notorious for that. Because there was the Asian girl, the lady, I don't
Rose.
remember her
Oh.
name
That's
from
Christina
the new.
something.
that played
I
Rose.
think. Yes.
Her character's name is Rose. Yes. Megan's off screen. She's helping me. I don't remember her name. Megan's looking it up.
It's Christina something, I'm pretty sure.
Hey guys,
Kelly
I just
Tran.
heard thunder. I think I stole
That was
your
close.
guys' thunder.
Sorry.
Kelly Tran is apparently the actress's name. That movie, the second movie in the new trilogy, was, in my opinion, horrible.
I didn't
Not
watch it.
not enough to shit on any of the actors. God, why? Like, what in your life is so bad that you've got to like go to the actor themselves and be like, that role that you were hired to do and did based on what the directors told you to do, you sucked at that and you should kill yourself.
Oh, you mean like Kristen Stewart, my
God.
favorite lesbian in the entire world?
Oh, for Twilight?
Oh yeah,
Because
and
of
a few other
pants?
things.
Yeah.
No, just her deadpan and emotionless. Like she was directed to act that way. Watch her in almost anything else, and it's night and day.
Mhm.
So, like Charlie's Angels, the reboot, not the best movie in the whole world, not the best remake, still a great fucking movie.
I've been meaning to see that.
So good.
Heard she
Watch
killed
it.
part in that.
She did. It was so good.
I like Kristen Stewart just fine. I mean, the movies themselves, yeah, she was pretty deadpan. But of course, like, what do you expect from a Twilight movie?
Yeah.
Like, it's a movie that's designed for the people to be most interested in the men.
Yeah.
Like, it's a love story from a woman's perspective on a vampire man or a werewolf man, depending on which book. Or both
He's a
at the same time.
shapeshifter.
I mean, he's sort of. I guess.
He is. It's in the book.
Is it? I don't know. It's been a hot minute since I've read through those
And a
books.
child.
He is a child. You're right.
He is a child, or he had a child.
Is
Oh, okay.
he was always like in the book 2 years younger than Bella.
Oh, yeah. And
she
then
was
he like
17.
I want to get it in you.
16. No, she was 17 in the first book.
Yep. And then he turned into like a werewolf beefcake after like the second book. It was like, oh, well, you're all muscly, funky fine with heat coming off of you instead of the cold man or whatever. I don't know. That like so Twilight is I don't know if I've explained it, but I've seen it explained very well. Bella is pants. A pair of pants that anybody reading it can put on just the most vanilla of vanilla characters that you
Mhm.
can turn off their attitudes and insert yourself into, and then that's how that works, especially from the female perspective or somebody who likes dudes. But Midnight Sun just came out too, so that's the reverse perspective. So interesting.
Yeah, and as I've like when we talk about Twilight and stuff, they did she did the gender swap version, Life and Death, same
Mhm.
kind of thing. Kind of a vanilla, kind of geeky Monty Python fan for Bo instead of Bella. I liked it. I'd recommend it, but that's me.
Slightly off topic, but she seems to write the same book several times at this point.
Yeah.
So she's written the first Twilight book three
Three
times
times.
now.
Yeah.
Yep.
More power to her. I mean, it's money. She's obviously making money from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, she's not going to do any more books from Edward's perspective. So that was like a one-off thing. But there are apparently at least 2 more Twilight books coming.
Yep.
So we'll see
Yeah.
how that
What was that
goes.
gonna be about?
I would assume that it would be post-marriage love story, mostly over, and
I
getting
hear a
into
lot of
like
people want backstory stuff. Emmett's backstory, Carlisle's backstory.
I'd be up for Alice's. I love Alice.
Yeah, because you don't get a lot of hers in the
Yeah.
books.
You
Like
don't
you
get a
hear
whole
a bunch
lot of
about.
background.
Yeah.
Well, that's what every fandom wants is backstory. Like the Harry Potter fandom wanted the Marauders' tales, and we're
now
getting
she's just
some
giving us a bunch
backstory,
of
but
bullshit, and we don't want it.
like wizards shit their pants and then magic it away. Like, okay, whatever. J.K. Rowling. Ugh. So my assumptions is that hopefully what I would like to see, let's go with that, with a future Twilight book, is we're done with the love story stuff. That tale is done.
Yeah, give me some murder.
Now let's get to the point where the Volturi and the fucking Cullens are about to like actually go to war. Like shit's going
warfare.
down.
Instead of giving me an entire war and then at the very pinnacle of it being like,
Yeah. Or let's even gun it into like people find out that vampires are real and then like shit hits the fan. Like what's gonna happen then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or set it like 500 years in the future, like in a cyber tech. Like
yeah, I'm so interested in futuristic vampires. That's not really been done. I want that. Like,
be the change you want to see.
I can't.
Write
I'm
a
writing
cyberpunk
a children's
vampire
book.
story.
I can't do it.
all right, I'll pick up the cyberpunk futuristic vampire story.
I can edit for you.
I
can check your grandma.
The only example I can think of that actually exists in terms of like futuristic vampires, a movie called Dracula 3000, which was shit. It was basically Dracula in space, and it was like the ship is about to blow up in the last bit of the movie. They couldn't stop the self-destruct sequence, so the 2 surviving characters get it on, and boom, ship explodes. The end.
Gross.
I mean, like, the whole taking things into space is, overdone by almost any franchise. I think putting vampire into it is a little bit too much, but if you can pull it off as either like a fan,
See, I'm not thinking vampires in space. Like cyberpunk to me is like future Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Like where tech is much more developed, people are augmented, like you've got robot parts, other miscellaneous things,
now,
like Cyberpunk 2077 whenever it comes out, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, now robots versus vampires, I could kind of see, because you got 2 immortal, kind of idealistically like unbreakable genres or character types going at it. I think that would be interesting.
I think if you're going to write that story, you would want to have maybe the augments be something that actually makes humans more combative, like not just prey.
Okay.
And then like there's a group that finds out that vampires are real, so they like augment themselves even further to be able to take on like Stephanie Meyer's sparkly, like hard-hitting vampire people and stuff. So like they've got like the robo arms, and like they've got like vision sight that can see speed, like things like, you know, you can see them coming. And then you've got like the big fist shotgun that like is so powerful that it'll like actually blow their like rock hard bodies apart and stuff. Like, you know, go all out. Like, why not? It's the
Bring
future.
out the big guns.
We got way off topic here, people.
Yes, we did.
Well, that's the way it goes. You want to talk about pissing off a toxic fandom? Like, we just made a story of the future Twilight book where like fucking robot
Robots
people
take over.
destroy them. I'm
Yeah,
sure
see,
there's at
that
least
comes trap.
one mega Twilight fan that if they ever see this, they'll be like, "You pieces of shit!"
Fucking trash. We need the Proto Man to do all of the music for it.
Oh
That'd be
yeah,
so good.
Proto Man would have to do the soundtrack to the cyber vamp story.
Robots versus vampires. Coming soon,
love story.
2024. No,
Starring Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Isabella Swan was an augmented human who fell in love with a vampire, and then she becomes the cyber vamp.
Just as robotic as ever.
No. So I think we covered toxic fandoms pretty well, and then we tangent off into our ideal future of Twilight. Good Lord. All right, so up next we have new episodes for you, of course, like we usually do, and then we have the Midnight Sun actual review coming up within the next 2 weeks, before the end of the month.
Yeah, I'll have it done probably.
Yeah,
I've read 3 other books, like beginning to finish, since I started Midnight Sun. So,
are you having trouble getting through it?
I have a full list of things, and I get a lot of my books from the library to my Kindle, and so as soon as they come available, I read them because I've been waiting in line for 6 weeks to get them. Midnight Sun, I own.
Right.
I'm good. Oh yeah, I got all my Midnight Sun shit. I'm not going to show it on this recording, but if everyone wants to see it, hang out afterwards, and I'll show you.
Cool.
Okay.
And then, of course, I think you're going to make a video on it, or we'll just show it.
I did already.
Okay, cool.
It's on my personal page.
Okey-dokey.
Hold on, I'll tell you what it is. I think it's just in La La Land, but I can't remember. I'm a horrible booktuber. Hey.
Either way, we will be back next week, hopefully on Monday, because I think that's the schedule that we're going with. Monday releases for videos. This just happened to be a late week because Christina just had to go into the mountains.
How dare you take a vacation?
Was the best though.
Hey. Yeah,
With
it's
the-
just in La La Land, if anybody wants to watch that.
Well, go see that. Until next week, I'm Adam.
I'm Jess.
I'm Chip.
You know.
Next time, buy a ticket.